right? Must itself be akin to being itself. That is the nature of reality. Being is a fancy word for the nature of reality. For what is the nature of ultimate reality. Now, when I say ultimate reality, it just means, right, just means that all the veils have dropped from the viewer, that's all. It doesn't change, right? The series of veils that we have, one by one they drop, and therefore it's ultimately the last mask that drops, and that's reality. Well, we remember now, we have to tie in why we can say that not only is it gives an insight into the nature of being or reality, but it's also intelligible and is of its nature a goodness. We haven't come close to looking at that yet. Well, when this experience of the nature of reality and in it one encounters a kinship with oneself, then one knows that within it there is something about the nature of reality and oneself. One is not separated from it. That means that man is part and parcel of a greater reality, and therefore his sense of alienation from a meaningful universe is absurd. In the highest experiences of beauty, you are part and parcel of reality as a living reality. Now, why the word living? Right, now we're saying it's a living reality. In this experience of beauty, one recognizes therefore a fundamental reality. And at that point, since it's akin to oneself, there's one thing we know about ourselves, in a very curious way, is that there's a certain vitality to us all. Right? There's a certain liveness to ourselves. Well, this reality disclosed in beauty is not any different than the core of our own being, which is itself a vitality. When one grasps in that experience, it's not even grasping in the experience, when one recognizes that the core of one's being is unfolded as an ultimate reality of a vitality, one comes to what we call here an astonishment. And what's the astonishment all about? What is the astonishment about? Well, everybody has had insights. Right? We all have insights. We make all kinds of studies of mathematics and literature and language. We have insights, and some people pursue them methodically. In this experience, one recognizes that this is itself pure insight. Pure insight. That is to say, there is an openness, right, to the mind itself. That radiates itself. And therefore, the very nature of reality is intelligible. Now, we have something curious here, and I'd like to see if we can explore it a bit. All right, there's this idea of ultimate reality as being composed of what is ultimately being, right? The nature of what is. As seen in its highest possible vision. And we're now saying not only is it, can we use the word being for it, but it has a vitality. And one recognizes that it's the very source of one's own vitality because that's what one encounters. And then we said it engages intelligibly. There's an intelligibility about it. But you see, as we are astonished by it and turn upon it, we recognize at the same time that its vitality in the very nature of its being is doing nothing other than a continuous, pure insight. It is mind itself in its highest expression, seeing itself. Therefore, the intelligible itself can be said to be turning itself on being, which is not without its vitality, for its vitality is direction and has a direction, or a vitality, is intelligible. Wow, what does that mean? That means that these are not separate things, they are hyphenated, one turning in upon the other. And to experience that directly is pure beauty. All right, let's do that again, all right? To experience that is nothing other than to say beauty itself. You can recognize in that experience that it's akin to the self. You can recognize immediately that the vitality is life itself. You recognize that this is not alien from mind, for in the highest level of mind as intelligibility, it is not a dumb thing. See, it's not a dumb thing that's encountered, because beauty necessarily must have and presupposes an intelligibility, order, pattern, right? Concordance, right? Especially concordance, balance, right? We can turn it upon it and say it also has such wonderful things as a certain reciprocity of values. It has balance, it has symmetry, levels of symmetry. All of these words are nothing other than images that say about the thing we're talking about that it is intelligible. That behind it there is some great intelligibility, which some modern theorists might call a attractor, a strange attractor. And we're saying that strange attractor is beauty. Now, why should anybody say that's good, that there in some way is related to goodness? Right? Is it just by inference we can say that? What shall we say about it?